than normal, and or at least above trend when we had that type of situation. That was in 2009. But 2009 was super cool in July and August. And if we don't see that, then you're not going to see this big yield again either.
Mike Tenars with T-Storm Wet.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of riding expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Welcome to RFD Town and Country Partners on a Thursday. I'm DeLoss Yankee. Go down to Springfield today, visiting with Jennifer Waters through Agricultural Education and FCAE. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm doing great. You know what? There's a lot of tractors out there on the road today.
Really? Well, that's good to know. Where have you been in Sangamon County, or have you been out and about? Where are you seeing this?
I've been in Sangamon and Morgan County, and we've got tractors rolling in the fields around here and a number on the road, so those farmers are getting out there around here, so hopefully things dry out enough for them to hopefully get some seeds in the ground before the weekend.
Yeah, because weekend looks like more rain, and shortly after that, more rain, and so people playing beat the clock while they can. So keep in mind, especially where you're talking about, there are probably a few curves in there, and be aware there'll be more and more vehicles out and about whenever possible. So, well, that's good to hear. I mean, finally, that sort of thing taking place.
That's right. It's been a wet spring, but things are definitely warming up today, and we're glad to see them out on the roads. And like you said, we always have to be mindful of those farmers out on the roads, and we want to make sure everybody makes it home at night. Absolutely.
So thinking about your area, which includes Sangamon and Morgan, and then as you move, all the way to the state border on the west side, so your area in west central Illinois. Hopefully, in fact, I was just talking to an ag teacher, if not awfully close to your area, but just the good things this time of year, a lot of banquets, a lot of celebrations, and even preparing for state convention for FFA.
That's right. So it is definitely banquet season and the end of the school year where everybody's getting things wrapped up and celebrating those successes of the students. And also a lot of plant sales going on in those FFA and ag greenhouses. So I've seen a lot of students who have done a lot of great work growing those plants in their greenhouses. And then, they're even donating them in a lot of neat places. Our local program at the Pleasant Plains FFA chapter donated flowers through the Boy Scouts to the local elementary school. And earlier today I was in Jacksonville, and they're going to donate their remaining flowers to the fairgrounds to help beautify that area. So it's great to see them doing projects in the classroom and also keep teaching their students about community service too. So we're always glad to see that.
Right. I mean, just those kind of things just happen automatically. There's not a whole lot of thinking behind that. Then, what do we do to help our local communities?
That's right. And you also mentioned the 91st FFA State Convention's coming up here in June. So June 11th through 13th will be at the Bank of Springfield Center, formerly the Prairie Capital Convention Center, and welcoming all of our FFA members for 3 days to Springfield. So there will be a lot of blue and gold jackets in downtown Springfield and in the Springfield area. Well, there's a sign that the temperatures are warm. If you want to get warm weather in Springfield, all you need is a bunch of blue corduroy to come by, and what do you know? That's right, and that's 25 days away, so we know it's going to warm up in 25 days.
Wow. Man, that is right around the corner. In your area, there's probably some transition, some turnover, and even if a teacher goes from one school to another, that means one opening's filled, but another one is created. So how are things in your part of the state?
Overall in the state, we've had 62 openings so far, and we've got 40 of those filled. In West Central Illinois alone, I'm at 5 openings still, but all of those are hopefully getting into the final stages of getting that best candidate hired. So excited to add some new teachers to the list of teachers we have here in Illinois. But this past year we had 413 agriculture education teachers throughout the state, and so we got 40 more openings out there if anyone else is interested in joining us in agricultural education.
Well, one of them comes to mind, for example, which was in Manitou, Midwest Central. So that might be a little north of your territory?
They are part of my territory,
okay.
Midwest Central.
Okay. Well, that was one case where, so they had 2 teachers, and one of the teachers, at least for a couple of years, certainly wasn't out of school, and maybe even closer to the opposite end on the career path as well. So when we talk about vacancies, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone straight out of college by any means.
Right. We have retired teachers who come back to teach as well. We also have people who join us from industry. Our industry friends who have been out there, have gained experience in the agricultural industry, and then come back to share that knowledge in the classroom. So we definitely have teachers of all ages, and we're glad to have them and bring in their expertise, as well as having our students who are straight out of college coming to join us.
You mentioned plant sales. If I can come back to that, I assume you had a classroom at one point. What was or even from your high school days or your own active membership days in FFA, what was the big fundraiser? Was it the same every year, or did it change from time to time?
When I was in high school, we always had our fruit fundraiser there at the holidays, and selling that Florida fruit. So I know that pretty much stayed the same all through my years in high school, and the people in the community expected it, and they knew you were coming to sell the fruit because you were in the FFA. When I was teaching at AC Central High School in Ashland, Illinois, it is a small school district. It is a small school, and we found ourselves changing our fundraisers all the time, whether we were, just donating time and help in the community, we were raking leaves at the bank to earn money, or if we were out there selling things that the students had made in the agriculture mechanic shop. Kind of varied all the time, and you really have to vary it based on what your students want to do too. If those kids don't want to get out there and sell what you're trying to do or raise the funds, then it makes it a little bit harder, so it's always nice to involve those students too.
Sure. I was by far and away top dog in fruit sales my senior year. Thankfully, because one of my customers owned an apartment complex, and she used fruit boxes as gifts for all of her tenants. So however many she bought, it was certainly a few $100 price tag, and it all went to me my senior year. So that made me top salesperson almost without even lifting a finger. I was pretty fortunate that year. So doesn't always work that way. It sounds like
you knew where to go to sell your fruit that year, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. So FFA convention, 3.5 weeks. So there are the big events in the convention center, Bank of Springfield Center, but so many competitions, so many people going for state proficiency championships, finalists. So some pretty intense time, but also a good look at what our next generation is up to in all kinds of different aspects of agriculture.
That's right. We've even branched out into Monday, the day before convention, to host some of those state awards to name some of our remaining champions in various areas. So it's kind of a stressful time for those kids going into it, trying to compete and do their best. And so we're excited to see what they can do and celebrate their accomplishments. And then, like you mentioned, we'll be seeing those students receiving their state FFA degrees and their American FFA degrees, and, all of the career development event winners throughout the year, whether it's livestock judging or meats judging or public speaking, will all be recognized. Foundation sponsors, and my personal favorite is the Agri-Science Fair. I'm always excited to see what new projects those students are bringing to the competition.
Oh, my gosh. The things that would be discussed at Agri-Science Fair today, in some cases, would probably have similarities to what I would have thought of when I was a student. But in other ways, I would think so far advanced on just opportunities and technological possibilities that are out there?
I competed in the agri-science fair a little over 20 years ago, and I can tell you these kids would have blown me away with the things they're doing. It's amazing whether they're studying reproductive technologies in animals, they're looking at food science trends and how we can preserve our foods better. We've got students who are looking at social ideas. How do people perceive agriculture? There's one project coming to us from Taylorville. The Illinois Agri-Women are helping to fund a trip for students from the Taylorville FFH chapter to travel to the Chicago High School of Agricultural Sciences to meet with those students and just talk about, some of the issues in agriculture and what does your family think about this? What does my family think about this? And how does that vary from the Chicagoland area and downstate?
Ah, fantastic. If someone has an interest and they may not even be aware of what chapters they have around them or how they can help one way or another in ag ed, or, that could be in the shop, or that could be in FFA, that could be a number of things. How do you get the ball rolling?
Definitely feel free to contact your local high school or your local school district to find out who that contact person is. At the state level, you're always welcome to call the Illinois FFA Center to make that contact there. And then also through our positions in ag education for the facilitating coordination in ag education, we're always willing to help make those connections too. And it's fun to make those connections of adults and students together because both groups benefit and it's only going to help those students in the future. All
right. Sounds good, Jennifer. Thanks so much. Good to visit with you. Hopefully we'll see you in Springfield in June.
All right. Hope to see you there.
Jennifer Waters, District 3 Program Advisor in FCAE, Facilitating Coordination in Agricultural Education. And the website simply is agriculturaleducation.org. You can also learn more simply, as she mentioned, by contacting your local high school, or you can find online Illinois FFA's website is illinoisffa.org. This is RFD, Town and Country Partners.
When it comes to our members, Chris Magnuson connects rural routes for you. Chris leads Illinois Farm Bureau's efforts to provide valuable information to our members. He has spent 2 decades with IFB. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
I grew up on a farm with corn, soybeans, and Christmas trees. I've been in ag communication for 3 decades now. My greatest satisfaction has always remained the same, to serve our members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
All ag.
All Illinois.
All now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
With what happens on the farm can impact your family and is related to food, I'm Mike Orso with RFD, Town and Country Partners. We recently heard from a young Illinois dairy farmer who said, "We have a surplus of milk. We have hungry neighbors. We shouldn't have both."
Some of the hardest working people in America wake up at 4 o'clock every morning and milk cows, and they do it again at 6 o'clock in the evening. And right now they're losing money with every gallon of milk they produce.
That's why, at about this time last year, Ty Higgins, then a broadcaster in Ohio, came up with the 10-gallon milk challenge.
My idea was, we can never consume enough milk in my house to make a difference, but what if we were able to buy some milk and take it to people that maybe don't have an opportunity to have milk in the fridge all the time? Milk is the number one requested item of food pantries across the country. And so I wanted to buy 10 gallons of milk and take it to my local food pantry and donate it.
It's a personal challenge for Higgins, who grew up on a dairy farm.
My family and I were walking through the grocery store, and we went by the milk aisle, and milk was $1 a gallon. I grew up on a dairy farm, and I thought to myself, who in the world's making money at $1 a gallon?
Back in the 1980s, Higgins says his family sold their cows as a result of low milk prices.
We had to auction off everything we had on the farm. And I thought, I was a 7-year-old boy in boots, bottle feeding calves every morning, thinking that it was going to be my life. That was going to be what I was going to do forever. And I couldn't help but think, Mike, about the 7-year-old today, bottle feeding those calves every day, not knowing that maybe tomorrow he might not be able to do that, and they'd have to sell the herd and move on and try to do something else to make a living.
The 10-gallon challenge has spread throughout Illinois and all 50 states.
It started getting momentum across my county and then my state, and then I started getting text messages from people that I knew across the country that said, hey, is this you? Are you the Ty Higgins that started this 10-gallon challenge?
Ty Higgins says farm bureaus, FFA chapters, departments of agriculture in several states have or still are participating. And you and your family can, too.
Kids today think that milk just shows up in the fridge and it's just on their kitchen table because that's where it's supposed to be. Well, there's a lot that goes into that glass of milk on that kitchen table. And I think that teaching those kids where their milk comes from, but also teaching kids that some kids don't know where their next meal's coming from, let alone their next glass of milk. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned on both sides of the equation in this.
So check with your local food pantry first to ensure they have refrigeration and take the 10-gallon milk challenge. Or you can also contribute to the 10,000-gallon milk challenge coordinated by the Kane County Farm Bureau by going to their website at kanecountyfarmbureau.com. For RFD Town and Country Partners, I'm Mike Orso.
Farm Week and FarmWeekNow.com journalist Kay Shipman connects rural routes for you. For 3 decades, Kay has delivered important news. She covers everything from legislative issues to the latest in soil and water conservation. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I love covering so many aspects of agriculture and providing readers with the facts they need to make better decisions. I also get to work with farmers and meet new people along the way.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com and Farm Week keep you connected.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture, we grow best together.
Welcome back to RFD Town and Country Partners. I'm DeLoss Yankee. We'll go up to the northwest corner. Laszlo Martin back on the program from the Galena Garlic Company. Laszlo, how are you?
Hey, how are you guys? How is everything going there?
Not too shabby down here. It's warmer, and hopefully we could avoid some rain. How about up there? What time of year? What is garlic season? What goes on this time of year for you?
So our garlic's looking really, really great. Up in Illinois, obviously, we had a little bit of a wet season and cool season, but it's looking really good. The stalks are looking amazing. We had planted, my daughter and I had planted in Nashville, Tennessee area, east of Nashville. We have a small little farmette there, and they're a little bit ahead of us, but that already we had picked the scapes and starting to pick them this week, and the scape is the flower. When you cut that, it obviously makes the ball bigger. We had actually make pesto out of it and do all sorts of other things. We're also freeze drying it for consumption for later date.
I love pesto, absolutely. Give me now. Mashed potatoes comes to mind. You know, there's chicken. There are a few other things. What is something that when you put garlic on it, just knocks it out of the park? What's something I wouldn't think of that just with garlic makes it go from good to great?
Well, basically, my favorite is always roasted garlic. And obviously, after you roast it, you can actually freeze it and then, stick it back in the pan, reconstitute it, and you can do all sorts of things. You can grill, you can, rebake things, using the crock pot. So, obviously, it's a really way to reconstitute it once you roast it.
Wow. Yeah, just roasted garlic with some fresh bread, and away you go. Simple as that, right?
Yes, sir. Extremely healthy, yes.
Now, with a product like this, is this something that, I don't know, how much goes on underground, how much is above ground, how much do you have to worry about, what kind of spacing do you need? What are something, are the rabbits going to come in and get it? What are you looking out for this time of year?
No, we basically planted, it's a crop that's easy to plant, a little bit harder to harvest, and there's a couple steps in between. it's not a hard crop, but you're really at nature's mercy. In other words, if God gives you rain, you're going to get rain. If it doesn't, then, you're going to get a smaller bulb. But if it gives you too much rain, I think, in certain areas where the garlic sits lower, you're going to get a little bit of a problem. But it's a pretty hardy crop up here in Illinois. In Tennessee, it looks like it grows in spurts because they get a little more of a cool period and very hot, and a cool period and then very hot. So they tend to get bigger plants, smaller bulb. We've been kind of experiencing that. I've been kind of tracking this for the last 4 years, trying to get it nailed down. It's a little bit trial and error, same as with corn or anything else. You kind of have to go with the flow. Some years this year, the crop is looking phenomenal.
As you do these farmers markets, wherever it is that you're doing it, and I know you do some in Tennessee as well, how much do you learn about just what you can charge for garlic, where someone says, oh, that's fascinating, but they may not want to pay a certain price for it?
Yes, they see the price. The price is, they see the grocery store price, and a lot of the garlic that comes from overseas, we can't guarantee, how it was produced. So I took out usagarlic.com, and I got a bunch of growers now, over probably 20 to 30 that grow. They're very adamant about growing fresh garlic in the USA. That's why we had set up the Garlic Festival in Elizabeth, Illinois. It's going to be our 5th year. And these growers they're coming from, Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, 2 or 3 from Illinois, including ourselves. And we pitch our wares because we want people to know that, USA garlic, there's nothing like it.
So that is middle of August coming up this year,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, August 10th and 11th, and we're looking for, it's our 5th year, a large turnout. We're bringing in new people, just always on the cutting edge. We're bringing up a gentleman out of Wisconsin. He actually ferments the garlic. It's black garlic, umami, and when you do this process, it kind of gives you like 15 times more of the it's just more powerful. It's antioxidants, and that's the word I was looking for, antioxidants.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah.
That's interesting too. The notion. I mean, we can have festivals for all kinds of things, rhubarb or strawberries or who knows what, but you can make a festival out of garlic too. How about that?
Yes, and it's funny because the people that I call them garlic lovers, I mean, they come just out of the woodwork. They just, Rockford area, Freeport, Chicagoland. I once had a lady coming from Lake Forest, and, she was a little bit overdressed for the festival, but I thought it was okay because she took a clove and actually bit into it and said, yeah, some damn good garlic. And I realized at that point, and if we asked people, we're very garlic friendly, so we always ask where you come from, what do you think, and feedback to us is customer service, and feedback is like our 100%. Besides, bringing in good garlic, we always want the customer to have a really good, like a nice experience coming to our festival.
Wow. Fantastic. Boy, it's bite straight into it. That takes a little bit of moxie to bite straight into it. But hey,
yes, because it has quite a kick. When she did that, I was like, whoa, I never had somebody do that. I know myself, I take little bites. And I'm kind of chicken because it's so powerful.
Oh my gosh!
But I have Amy at work. She runs she's our air traffic garlic air traffic controller, and she puts the garlic fest together. And she's always going, "Oh my God, this!" She puts out all the fires and whatnot.
Great.
But she